Imagine entering one of the biggest hardcourt tournaments of the summer with everything to prove, and leaving Canada as a champion. That is exactly what happened to Iga Świątek and Ben Shelton. Fire! Swiatek dominated Elena Rybakina in Toronto to finally capture her first title of the 2026 season, while Shelton delivered another incredible performance in Montreal to defend his Canadian Open crown. Two champions, two different journeys, but one unforgettable Canadian Open trophy. So, how did they do it? And why could these victories change everything heading into the US Open? Let's break it all down. First, let's talk about Iga Świątek. For much of the 2026 season, Swiatek had been searching for the kind of dominant form that had made her one of the biggest stars in women's tennis. But in Toronto, everything finally came together. The Polish star reached the final after defeating Alina Svitolina in a tough three-set semifinal, winning 6-3, 1-6, 6-3. That victory put Swiatek into her first final of the season. Standing between her and the trophy was Elena Rybakina. Rybakina had already produced a huge statement by defeating Coco Gauff in the semifinals, coming back after losing the opening set to win 5-7, 6-2, 6-2. But in the final, Swiatek was simply too strong. From the opening games, Iga took control with her trademark intensity, movement, and consistency. Rybakina struggled to find the same rhythm she had shown earlier in the tournament, while Swiatek kept applying pressure. The result? A commanding 6-2, 6-3 victory. And with that, Iga Świątek became the 2026 Canadian Open champion, and finally ended her long wait for a title this season. But the celebrations didn't stop in Toronto, because in Montreal, another American star was making history. Ben Shelton. Shelton entered the tournament as the defending champion, and once again he looked incredibly dangerous on Canadian hard courts. The American left-hander powered through the draw without dropping a single set. In the semifinal, Shelton defeated fellow American Lerner Tien 6-2, 6-3 to book his place in the championship match. And waiting for him was another American, Brandon Nakashima. That meant the Canadian Open men's final was an All-American showdown. Rare Masters 1000 final and the first All-American Masters 1000 final since 2003. Nakashima was playing in his first Masters 1000 final. Shelton, meanwhile, was chasing something even bigger. Back-to-back titles. And once the final started, Shelton wasted no time. He broke Nakashima twice in the opening set and took it 6-3. The second set was much tighter. Nakashima fought back, pushed the set into a tiebreak, and refused to let Shelton run away with the match. But when the biggest points arrived, Shelton found another level. He closed out the tiebreak 7-4 and secured a 6-3, 7-6-4 victory. Back-to-back Canadian Open titles. A second Masters 1000 championship. And perhaps most impressively, Shelton completed the entire tournament without losing a single set. That puts him in extremely select company, becoming the first Canadian Open champion since Novak Djokovic in 2016 to win the tournament without dropping a set. He also became the first player since Rafael Nadal in 2019 to successfully defend the title. For Shelton, this victory is even more meaningful because of how difficult the season had been before arriving in Canada. He had suffered early exits at Wimbledon and Roland Garros, and had struggled to find consistency in Masters 1000 events. But Montreal changed the story. Suddenly, Shelton looks confident, powerful, and extremely dangerous heading toward the US Open. And that is what makes these two champions so interesting. For Iga Świątek, this title is a reset. For Ben Shelton, this title is confirmation. Świątek proved that she can still dominate the biggest stages. Shelton proved that last year's Canadian Open breakthrough was no fluke. And now both players leave Canada with something incredibly valuable: momentum. The US Open is coming. The hardcourt season is heating up. And after what we just witnessed in Canada, both Swiatek and Shelton have sent a very clear message to the rest of the tennis world. They are ready. Fire tennis. The 2026 Canadian Open has officially crowned its champions. And what a tournament it was. Iga Świątek is back on top. Ben Shelton is a champion again. And the road to the US Open just became a whole lot more interesting. What do you think? Can Iga Świątek carry this momentum all the way to the US Open? And can Ben Shelton make another deep run on the biggest hardcourt stage? Let me know your predictions in the comments. Backhand index pointing down. If you enjoyed this tennis update, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more breaking WTA and ATP news. And remember, the Canadian Open champions have been crowned, but the biggest battles of the season are still ahead.